Hello and welcome to day 35 of our 40 Days of Habit. We are on our last week. This is our final live review. We are right on the last stretch now. Day 40 is on Saturday and Easter is on Sunday. So we really are on that final stretch now. So we're live for our weekly review. I want to see if anyone is online at the moment joining me. If you're watching this live, then do say hello, pop something into the comments and say hello. If you're watching this afterwards, do still feel free to join in the conversation. So it's great to read your comments, even when they're not live, even when they come in afterwards, because it's great to see your progress and what kind of things you're noticing as well. So what I want to talk to you today, a little bit around what to, I guess that kind of a little bit around curiosity versus criticism. So that's a note I've made for myself here. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, and also about revelations. So what I want to know from you is, what have you discovered? Any revelations, any changes, any light bulb moments, any aha moments, anything where you go, oh, well, that was unexpected, as part of your 40 days? Because one of the things around experimenting, as I said at the beginning, if you have a spirit of experimentation, it means that it's not about, I have to get it right. It's actually just about, okay, I'm going to put something to the test and see what happens. And the most important thing is that I notice and I discover and I learn as part of it. So it's less about get it right or get it wrong, and more about what am I noticing and what learning can I take forward from this. So the beauty of experimenting is the experiment itself is all about, what do I discover? It's not a test. It's not about I've got to pass this test. It's more about what am I learning as a result of this experimentation. So what am I learning? Well, last week was a bit of an unusual week, as you might have noticed from the videos. So I had a very early start on Wednesday morning, and that was unexpected as well, because I only found out that was going to happen on Tuesday morning when I was having my breakfast. So there was a lot of changes. I was also on the road a lot last week, so in terms of eating, so I know, like Monday night, for example, I finished up in Birmingham, finished a workshop at 5, got down to London for 7:30, met a friend for dinner, but of course that meant that I was eating later as well. So I didn't get to bed until later, even though I didn't have to get up until a little bit later. I still actually didn't get to bed till later, so I didn't get the benefit of that lie-in. There was a little bit of lots of chopping and changing. And I think when things like that happen, I find that I'm either tempted to write the whole thing off and go, well, that's just, that week didn't work. Let's just not count that week. Let's just move on and not think about it. So, there's part of me that wants to do that. There's another part of me that's thinking, oh, well, maybe everything up until this point hasn't really made much of a difference. Maybe there's no point. And, sometimes when that happens, I'm then tempted to write off the whole thing, not even write off the week, but write off the whole experiment, like write off the whole 40 days and go, well, it just kind of didn't really work out. So I find when that happens, it's really helpful for me to just remind myself that to activate curiosity. So I find curiosity and criticism are kind of two opposites for me. So when I find myself in a space of criticism where I'm thinking, what's the point, and it's not worked out, and it's all rubbish, and when I find myself just being either really critical of myself or just critical generally, what I notice is that puts me in a defensive position, but curiosity puts me in a discovery position. So they're kind of two ends of the spectrum. So what I notice is that when I'm feeling like that, I try and remind myself to activate wonder. And wonder is like, not, oh, it didn't work because of that, but like, I wonder what if. So I wonder why that happened. Looking at my week last week, I wonder why I didn't get as much sleep. I wonder why I found it hard to get to sleep that day. I wonder what if we did something different. So I'm on the road again today, for example, and I'm down in London. And I know when I was booking my train tickets, I was tempted to go for the later train because that would just give me a little bit more time to say my goodbyes, and if I'm in the middle of a really interesting conversation, I've got a little bit more leeway there to get to the train station on time. But then I realised that would actually get me home for 11 o'clock, which is an hour later than I normally go to bed. If I get the earlier train, I basically get home for 10, I think. So I'm still it's still tight, but it's not an hour late. And what I realised is that because I've been so much more mindful about my sleep, I decided to go, okay, actually, I want to make it back earlier. So yes, I'll have to leave the event promptly. I'll have to, dash. But do you know what? I can do that. And that's something I've noticed about myself, is that throughout these 40 days, I haven't got it nailed. I haven't got it completely licked. But I've definitely changed and shifted a little bit in terms of how I make my decisions. So when I have a choice between, do I get the earlier train or do I get the later train, I'm more likely to get the earlier train so that I'm prioritising my sleep. Whereas before, I would definitely have gotten the later train. So little steps of progress, really useful to make, and really useful to notice as well. So, I was in another conversation yesterday actually, and we were talking about kind of that spirit of generosity. The theme was open hearts, open hands. So, and I realised that actually we think of like open, closed as binary. So, either open or closed, but actually I think it's little steps. So does the choice I'm making help me to open my hands a little bit more, or does it help me to tighten my hands a little bit more? And similarly, with the curiosity versus criticism, I can move. I don't, if I find myself in that critical space, it's not like I'm not allowed to criticize at all. I can completely, come away from that. I could just move a little bit, move a little bit, move a little bit towards that curiosity and see what happens. Equally, if my sleep has gone to the lack side again, it's rather than the abundance side. It's not about do I switch it on or do I switch it off. It's just about what can I do to just shift it that little bit more. So can I get a little bit more sleep today? Can I go to bed in like 10 minutes earlier, 20 minutes earlier? Can I get the earlier train? Just little steps to nudge it in the right direction. So that's my first tip here. Let me just check. No, I'm not getting any comments through at the moment, so I'm going to carry on. But if you are joining me live, do let me know. So write me a comment. Let me know what's going on for you. Let me know whether you found yourself in that criticism space or that curiosity space this week, but also what revelations. So I know that I don't know if Kim is online live with me today, but she emailed me earlier in the week to say she had a bit of a revelation. So Kim's been she's been cutting out caffeine for the 40 days of Lent, for the 40 days of habits. And she said she had a mini revelation this week, which is that she thought she was feeling tired because she didn't have coffee. So she was missing her caffeine because she was feeling tired. And what she found out was maybe it wasn't the caffeine. Maybe it was a vitamin deficiency. So she took some multivitamins and she found that her energy levels rose. And what she realised was that maybe the caffeine had just been masking the fact that she had a vitamin deficiency, and that actually it just made, it just masked the underlying cause of it. So that was, pretty big revelation for her. Rather than thinking, actually, I need my caffeine to feel energized and to have energy, actually what it was that her body needed something else, and the caffeine was actually masking it and stopping her from being able to notice that. So that's quite a big revelation. I wonder what your revelations were. I had a similar revelation actually last night or the night before, I think. So like I said, this week I've not had as much sleep, and what I noticed was that one of the evenings I was going to bed, I just noticed a little bit of a croak in my throat. And because I use my voice a lot, I'm a singer, I'm a speaker, I use my voice, it's one of my tools. I notice I get really paranoid when I start getting a croaky throat. So I have a little jar of propolis, a little bottle of propolis, and I take some of that at night if I feel like my voice isn't 100%, just to help it along a little bit. And and I noticed that 2 nights ago, thinking, oh, maybe I need to start taking that again. But then I realised I haven't taken that for quite a few weeks. It may well be that the last time I took that was at the beginning of the 40 Days of Habit. So what I'm realizing is that even though at the moment, I'm not noticing that much of a difference, actually, maybe it has made it more of a difference than I realize. So, the fact that I haven't been ill since probably the beginning, I think I was battling something right at the beginning of the 40 days and I managed not to get too ill, I think. But, the fact that I haven't been fighting off a cold for the last few weeks, that might be because I've had more sleep. Just making that link, realizing, it's making more of a difference than I think. So here's my challenge to you today for our review this week is to notice, the curiosity versus criticism, but also to activate curiosity and notice the revelations. So share with me, what are the revelations? What have you discovered along the way? As we go through this week, I'll be recording videos for you to finish off our series as well. And the last day the theme will be celebrate. So what I'd like you to do is share with me your celebrations. So, what are you celebrating? What are you getting towards the end of? If you want to just type a message, let me know, that's great. Or if you want to send me a picture of either what you've achieved or what you're celebrating or the bottle of champagne or the big box of chocolates or whatever it is. So text, photos, videos if you want to. I'd love to know what you're celebrating. So anytime this week, send it to me and I can include that in my last day, the video on the last day. Brilliant. Yes, so Kim has just commented. So Kim, fantastic. Glad you can make it on live. I just shared, paraphrase a little bit of your revelation on just now earlier. So yes, Kim saying, I've discovered I don't need caffeine to wake me up, I just need multivitamins. So that's a brilliant revelation. Just as I was saying earlier, Kim, just before you came online, that my revelation this week is that I haven't been battling a cold for the last few weeks, and I think that's because I've had more sleep. So just getting more sleep on a regular basis means that my immune system is better, even though I didn't kind of consciously realize that. I'm noticing that there's a link there. Brilliant. Okay, so I am going to wrap it up there for our live review. Again, pop some comments on there, let me know how you're getting on, but also let me have your celebrations. So during this week, let me have your celebrations. What are you celebrating? How are you celebrating? And I'll include that in my final video on day 40. Okay, fantastic. Well, I will see you again soon and let's keep the conversation going.